Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is about task-based language teaching, TBLT. This video includes Introduction to Task-Based Language Teaching, TBLT. Core Principles of TBLT. The Teaching Framework of TBLT. The Types of Tasks/Task Cycle. The Benefits of TBLT. The Challenges of TBLT. Implementing TBLT in the classroom. TBLT versus traditional methods of teaching. Technology and TBLT. Conclusion. Task-based language teaching, a comprehensive approach. Task-based language teaching, TBLT, centers on learning through meaningful language tasks. Rooted in communicative language teaching, it boosts engagement and practical communication skills. Over 60% of educators see improved learner participation with TBLT. What is task-based language teaching? Authentic communication. Uses real language tasks that relate to everyday contexts. Focus on fluency. Prioritizes meaningful communication over isolated grammar drills. Outcome-based assessment. Evaluates success based on task completion and communication. Let's see definition in detail. Task-based language teaching, TBLT, is an approach to language instruction where genuine communication tasks are the central focus of the lesson. Instead of primarily studying grammar rules in isolation, learners use the target language to complete meaningful activities that mirror real-life situations, such as planning an event or solving a problem. The emphasis is on using language purposefully to achieve a task outcome. This learner-centered approach encourages active participation, collaboration, and the spontaneous use of language. While attention to grammar and vocabulary occurs, it often emerges from the language needed to complete the task. TBLT aims to develop learners' ability to communicate effectively and confidently in authentic contexts. Let's move to the core principles of TBLT. Authentic communication. Engages learners with practical, real-life language use. Student-centered learning. Empowers learners to take active roles in their progress. Task engagement. Focuses on tasks that capture students' genuine interest. Practical application. Encourages language use beyond memorization. Let's see in detail. Here are the core principles of task-based language teaching, TBLT, in a list with short details. Focus on meaning. The primary goal is for learners to understand and convey meaning through communication, rather than just manipulating grammatical forms in isolation. Authenticity of tasks. Learning revolves around tasks that reflect real-world language use and situations that learners might encounter outside the classroom. Task as the unit of planning. Lessons and curriculum are structured around a sequence of tasks that guide the learning process. Learner-centeredness. Learners are active participants who use their own language resources and work collaboratively to complete tasks, with the teacher acting as a facilitator. Emphasis on communication. Tasks are designed specifically to promote genuine interaction and communication among learners as they work towards a goal. Clear task outcome. Each task has a tangible, non-linguistic result or goal that learners must achieve, providing a clear purpose for their language use. Use of existing and emerging language. Learners are encouraged to utilize the language they already know, and the task provides opportunities for them to notice and use new language as needed. The TBLT framework. Pre-task. Introduce context and target vocabulary. Task cycle. Students engage in meaningful activities to complete tasks. Language focus. Analyze and practice key language forms. Duration. A full cycle takes about 60 to 90 minutes. The most widely recognized framework for task-based language teaching, often associated with researcher Jane Willis, typically consists of three main stages: pre-task phase, introduction to the task and topic. The teacher introduces the theme or topic of the task and explains clearly what the learners will be doing. Activating prior knowledge. The teacher helps learners recall existing vocabulary, grammar, or ideas related to the task. Providing necessary support. The teacher might pre-teach some essential vocabulary or phrases, show examples of the task outcome, or play recordings to prepare learners, but without focusing on specific grammatical structures in isolation. Motivating learners. The teacher aims to create interest and motivate learners to engage with the task. Task cycle. Task. Learners perform the main task, usually in pairs or small groups. The focus is on completing the task using their available language resources. The teacher's role is to monitor, motivate, and provide quiet support as needed, but not to correct errors immediately or interrupt communication flow. Planning. Learners prepare to present the outcome of their task to the rest of the class. This might involve organizing their ideas, practicing their presentation, and perhaps focusing a bit more on accuracy as they prepare for a public performance. The teacher can offer language advice at this stage. Report. Groups present the results of their task to the whole class. This allows learners to use the language in a more public setting and provides opportunities for interaction and feedback from peers and the teacher. Post-task phase. Language focus analysis. The teacher and learners analyze the language used during the task cycle. The teacher can highlight interesting or problematic language features that emerged spontaneously. This might involve looking at a transcript or focusing on specific errors or effective language use. Practice. Based on the analysis, the teacher can conduct practice activities that focus on specific vocabulary, grammar points, or pronunciation issues that were relevant to the task and the learner's needs. This is where more explicit focus on form occurs, but it is grounded in the language that was used or needed for the task. This three-stage framework provides a flexible structure for designing and implementing TBLT lessons, moving from preparation and meaningful language use in the task cycle to a focused analysis and practice of language features in the post-task phase. Types of tasks. Information gap tasks. Students exchange missing information to complete tasks. Opinion gap tasks. Express personal preferences and justify views. Reasoning gap tasks. Draw inferences to solve problems. Simulation tasks. Role plays mimicking authentic situations like interviews. In task-based language teaching, TBLT, tasks are designed to engage learners in meaningful communication to achieve a specific outcome. These tasks can be categorized into different types based on the cognitive processes or the nature of the information involved. Here are some common types of tasks used in TBLT. Information gap tasks. Description. These tasks involve a situation where information is distributed among participants, and they must communicate with each other to share the missing information and complete the task. Neither participant has all the information needed initially. Example. Students work in pairs, each with a slightly different picture. They must describe their picture to their partner to find the differences without showing each other the pictures. Another example is having parts of a story distributed among group members, who must tell their part to reconstruct the complete story. Opinion gap tasks. Description. These tasks require learners to express and exchange their personal opinions, beliefs, or feelings on a given topic. There is no single, correct answer, and the focus is on expressing viewpoints and engaging in discussion or debate. Example. Students discuss a controversial topic like the impact of social media, presenting their opinions and trying to persuade others or reach a consensus. Another example is ranking a list of items, e.g. survival items for a deserted island, based on personal preferences and justifying their choices. Reasoning gap tasks. Description. These tasks require learners to derive new information or reach a conclusion through a process of inference, deduction, practical reasoning, or identifying patterns from given information. They need to use logic and critical thinking to solve the task. Example. Students are given a set of clues about a mystery or a problem and must use logical reasoning to figure out the solution. Another example is analyzing data or statistics to draw conclusions or make predictions. Simulation tasks. Description. These tasks involve creating a simulated real-life situation where learners act out roles and use language to achieve a goal within that scenario. They provide opportunities to practice language in contexts that mimic authentic interactions. Example. Students role-play a situation like ordering food in a restaurant, checking into a hotel, or conducting a job interview. These can range from simple exchanges to more complex scenarios. Problem-solving tasks. Description. These tasks present learners with a problem that they must solve collaboratively using the target language. They often involve elements of information sharing, reasoning, and negotiation to arrive at a solution. Example: students are given a hypothetical problem, e.g. how to improve the local environment, how to organize a community event, and must discuss, brainstorm solutions, evaluate options, and agree on a plan of action. Listing, ordering, and sorting tasks. Description: these tasks involve generating lists of items, putting items in a specific order, sequencing, ranking, or grouping items based on certain criteria, classifying. Example: students list things they need for a camping trip, order steps in a recipe, or sort different types of food into categories: fruits, vegetables, grains. Comparing tasks. Description: these tasks require learners to compare and contrast two or more items, pictures, texts, or ideas, identifying similarities and differences. Example: students compare two pictures and describe the differences, or compare two articles on the same topic and discuss the different perspectives presented. Sharing personal experiences. Tasks. Description: these tasks encourage learners to share personal information, experiences, or stories with their peers. The focus is on narrative and personal expression. Example: students talk about their favorite holiday, a memorable trip, or a significant event in their lives. These various task types offer flexibility in designing TBLT lessons, allowing teachers to choose activities that are appropriate for the learner's level, interests, and learning objectives, while always prioritizing meaningful language use to achieve a non-linguistic outcome. Benefits of implementing TBLT: boosts motivation. Meaningful interaction keeps students engaged. Enhances communication. Develops practical language skills for real-world use. Builds confidence. Learners gain confidence through authentic practice. Improve retention. Contextual learning supports long-term memory. Let's see in more detail. Here are some key benefits of using task-based language teaching, TBLT, in the classroom, presented as a list with short details, including the points you requested. Boosts motivation. TBLT uses engaging and relevant tasks that connect to learners' lives and interests, making the learning process more enjoyable and increasing their motivation to participate. Enhances communication. The core of TBLT is using language for authentic communication to complete a task, providing ample opportunities for learners to practice interacting and conveying meaning. Builds confidence. By focusing on successful task completion and using their existing language resources, learners gain confidence in their ability to use the target language in practical situations. Improves retention. When learners use language actively and meaningfully to achieve a task outcome, the language is processed more deeply, leading to better retention of vocabulary and grammatical structures. Develops fluency. The emphasis on completing the task encourages learners to use language spontaneously and without excessive hesitation, which helps to develop fluency. Integrates language skills. TBLT tasks often require learners to use multiple language skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing, in combination, mirroring real-life language use. Promotes learner autonomy. Learners are often responsible for planning and completing tasks, which encourages them to take ownership of their learning and become more independent. Fosters collaboration and teamwork. Many tasks are designed for pair or group work, promoting collaboration, negotiation, and the development of interpersonal skills. Provides authentic language practice. Tasks simulate real-world communication scenarios, giving learners practice in using language in contexts they might encounter outside the classroom. Caters to different learning styles. The variety of tasks and activities in TBLT can appeal to different learning preferences and intelligences. Challenges of using TBLT. While task-based language teaching, TBLT, offers numerous benefits, its implementation in the classroom can also present several challenges. These challenges can vary depending on the context, including factors like class size, available resources, and teacher training. Here are some common challenges of using TBLT in the classroom. Task design complexity. Designing authentic, engaging, and appropriately challenging tasks that align with learning objectives for diverse student levels requires significant creativity, time, and expertise from the teacher. Classroom management. Shifting to a more learner-centered approach with group or pair work can sometimes lead to challenges in managing classroom dynamics, ensuring all students participate, and keeping noise levels under control. Assessment challenges. Evaluating learners' language proficiency based on their performance on tasks can be more complex than using traditional tests that focus on discrete language points. Developing effective assessment criteria for task-based outcomes is crucial. Time constraints. TBLT lessons, especially those following the full framework, pre-task, task cycle, post-task, can sometimes be time-consuming, which can be a challenge within rigid curriculum schedules. Learner resistance or unfamiliarity. Students who are accustomed to more traditional, teacher-centered methods might initially feel uncomfortable or uncertain with the open-ended nature of tasks and the shift in responsibility to them. Over-reliance on first language, L1 learners, especially at lower proficiency levels or when faced with challenging tasks, might resort to using their first language within their groups, which can limit their target language practice. Ensuring focus on form. While TBLT prioritizes meaning, ensuring that learners also develop accuracy and focus on correct language forms during or after the task requires careful planning and skilled teacher intervention in the post-task phase. Resource availability. Implementing authentic tasks may require access to diverse resources, materials, or technology, which might be a challenge in some educational settings with limited resources. Teacher training and confidence. Teachers need adequate training and support to understand the principles of TBLT, design effective tasks, and manage a more learner-centered classroom confidently. A lack of training can be a significant barrier to successful implementation. Implementing TBLT in the classroom. Create authentic tasks. Design engaging scenarios relevant to students' lives. Support language. Provide vocabulary and structures before tasks. Encourage collaboration. Promote peer interaction and teamwork. Reflect on learning. Discuss task outcomes and language use post-task. Let's see the best ways to implement TBLT in the classroom. Implementing task-based language teaching, TBLT, effectively in the classroom involves careful planning and execution to maximize its benefits and address potential challenges. Here are some of the best ways to implement TBLT, keeping in mind the principles and framework. Start with a needs analysis. Before designing tasks, understand your learner's specific communication needs, interests, and current proficiency levels. This helps in selecting or creating relevant and motivating tasks. Create authentic and meaningful tasks. Design tasks that simulate real-life situations and have a clear, non-linguistic outcome. The tasks should require genuine communication and engage learners in using language for a purpose they understand. Follow the TBLT framework, pre-task, task cycle, post-task. Structure your lessons using the 3 key phases. The pre-task prepares learners, the task cycle provides opportunities for authentic language use, and the post-task allows for reflection and focused language study. Provide clear instructions and modeling. Ensure learners fully understand the task requirements and what is expected of them. Modeling the task or providing clear examples can significantly reduce confusion and anxiety. Support language during the pre-task. While avoiding explicit pre-teaching of isolated grammar, introduce or review vocabulary and phrases that are likely to be useful for the task. This provides learners with some linguistic tools to draw upon. Encourage collaboration and interaction. Design tasks that necessitate learners working together in pairs or groups to share information, negotiate meaning, and solve problems. This promotes valuable interaction and peer learning. Act as a facilitator, not just an instructor. During the task cycle, circulate, monitor, and support learners without interrupting their communication to correct every error. Provide guidance and encouragement as needed. Focus on fluency first, then accuracy. In the task cycle, prioritize learners' ability to communicate their message and complete the task, fluency. Address language accuracy and form more explicitly in the post-task phase based on the language used during the task. Reflect on learning. Post-task analysis. Dedicate time in the post-task phase for learners to reflect on their performance and the language they used. The teacher can highlight key language points, provide feedback, and lead targeted practice activities. Adapt tasks for different proficiency levels, modify tasks or provide scaffolding. support, to make them accessible and appropriately challenging for learners with varying proficiency levels within the same class. Integrate technology appropriately. Utilize technology tools that can support authentic communication, collaboration, and access to resources during tasks, e.g. online collaboration tools, authentic videos, language learning apps. Manage classroom dynamics effectively. Establish clear expectations for group work and monitor learner interactions to ensure participation and target language use. Use varied assessment methods. Employ assessment strategies that evaluate learners' ability to complete tasks successfully and use language effectively in context, in addition to assessing specific language forms. This could include observation, performance assessments, or portfolios. Implementing TBLT is a process that may require adjustment and reflection, but by focusing on these key strategies, teachers can create a dynamic and effective environment for language learning. Considering the local context in Nepal, adapting tasks to be culturally relevant and utilizing readily available resources are also important aspects of effective implementation. TBLT versus traditional methods. Focus, TBLT, meaningful communication. Traditional, grammar rules. Approach. TBLT, student-centered. Traditional, teacher-centered. Assessment. TBLT, task completion. Traditional, grammatical accuracy. Materials, TBLT, authentic language. Traditional, scripted dialogues. Technology and TBLT. Authentic task simulation. Digital tools recreate real-world language scenarios. Assessment and reflection. Recordings help evaluate and reflect on language use. Immersive learning. Virtual environments deepen engagement. Collaborative platforms. Supports peer interactions and task completion online. Conclusion, TBLT impact and future. Effective approach. Research shows TBLT enhances communicative competence. Versatile method. Fits all ages and skill levels flexibly. Integrates well. Combines with other teaching methods seamlessly. Digital adoption. Growing use in blended and online learning. Task-based language teaching, TBLT, is a dynamic approach that centers language learning around completing meaningful, authentic tasks. Moving beyond traditional methods, it emphasizes using language for real communication in a structured framework, pre-task, task cycle, post-task. Through various task types like information, opinion, and reasoning gaps, TBLT boosts motivation, enhances communication, builds confidence, and improves language retention and fluency. While challenges exist in task design and classroom management, effective implementation strategies like providing clear instructions, encouraging collaboration, and reflecting on learning are key to harnessing its benefits for learners. TBLT has significantly impacted language education globally by promoting more natural and communicative language use. Its focus on learner-centeredness and authentic tasks aligns well with modern pedagogical goals. In contexts like Nepal, TBLT can play a crucial role in making English language learning more practical and relevant for learners. The future of TBLT likely involves further integration with technology to create more dynamic and personalized learning experiences, addressing the challenges of diverse classrooms and resource limitations, and continuing to emphasize the development of practical communicative skills essential for the 21st century. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to press bell icon for more videos.